So that's where we were, right? This was the Philippines, Indonesia. Now we're back to our side of the world, but just south of the equator. Here we are in South America now. South America.
Oh, that's Peru.
This is Peru right here. What about this huge country? Do we know what that is? Brasilia. Good. All right, so here's Peru. All right, so what do we know about it just looking at the map? It's big. That's one. What about another one?
Mountainous.
Mountainous. Very good observation. Let's check out some of those mountains. Do you know what they're called?
Which is pandas? And what?
Andes. The Andes Mountains.
Really? I was going to say that.
Check out these mountains. Isn't this beautiful?
Yeah. They big? Really big?
Yep, the geography and the topography of this region is really great for a lot of people to go hiking in and traveling to. So if you ever go backpacking, you can go here, but make sure you bring a guide because it's very vast.
I'll let me do that myself.
Alright, so it's mountainous. It's in South America. It's big. What else? What's next to it?
It's right near Brazil.
It's next to which ocean?
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. Good. What's on this border of it? Brazil. Alright, let's mark some of these things down in our country. Alright, Peru. So we said it's in South America. Let's start with that.
Mountainous?
Yes, it's mountainous. With what Adele said, the Andes. That's the name of the mountain range in Peru. What about on its borders?
Brazil.
Alright, it has Brazil on one side.
Chile.
What's on the other side?
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. The first one is the Cajon. But we'll see them all played at the same time here. Here's an ensemble of Peru. This is the Cajon. What do we notice about this music on the first impressions?
Very happy. Yeah, that's why.
It's very what? Happy, that's right. So you saw somebody dancing even. A lot of music is accompanied by dancing in this region. And we'll see more about that next class. But let's first get introduced to the No, let's do Born in the Ports. So this is the beginning of the
encajan dentro de lo que es el cajón. Como dijimos, el cajón anteriormente,
El Cajón was born in the ports when the Africans were slaves.
puertos golpeados por manos africanas.
Its structure has changed over time as well as its size.
Let's just talk about that one thing that he said because they just glossed over it. Peru was inhabited by indigenous people to begin with, but do you know who colonized most of South America? Yeah, Spain. And along with the Spanish came the Africans as slaves because the Spanish brought slaves to South America. So that's how they were introduced to South America. All right? And because of that, we're going to see why they had to use this as an instrument, which is, it looks like a box, but they turned it into an amazing instrument.
El tamaño, área de estructura, pero
What
hasta
happened
ahora
is the Spanish, when they oppressed the slaves, they said, no musical instruments for you. So they weren't allowed to play musical instruments. So in order to play music, what they had to do is take relatively common items from what they had in the ports, and they would turn those into musical instruments. So then when the Spaniards turned around, they could say, oh, we're not playing, this is just a box. And then when they turned around, then they could put it down and they can play their beats. All right? So that's how it began. And it had to be a closed box, because if it's open, then they'll see that it's empty. But if it's closed, they can't tell that it's empty. All right? Let's hear him play this thing.
esta es la etapa principal del cajón.
This is the most important part of the cajon. This produces lows and this produces highs.
la técnica de golpe
The technique of the cajon is highs,
grave.
lows.
Ahora,
The cajon has first variation, second variation, and third variation.
I don't know about you, but I think that's the coolest box that I've ever seen. Let's go back to the document here. Cajon. So, what do we know about it? It looks like a box.
It is a box.
Technically it is, but what's it used as?
Drum.
Let's call it a hand drum. Just so we don't get confused, because most drums are played with either mallets or sticks, but this one's used for the hand. Now let's talk a little bit about its culture, or its introduction into their culture. Why did they decide to use a box as an instrument? Yes?
So the Spanish could not figure out that they were playing musical instruments?
Yeah, so it was, and you can word this any way you want, but you could also say it was a response to Spanish oppression. That's a big word. Oppression. Oppression means injustice. Let's check out the cajita. Now this is something that is also inconspicuous. And inconspicuous means that it's not obvious that it's an instrument, but they turned it into one. And they can do some really cool beats on this as well.
This instrument is called cajita, or small box,
nace
and
en las
it comes from
iglesias.
churches.
Sounds like a harp. Yeah. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Who noticed where it came from? He said it at the very beginning of the video. It came from a particular institution.
So wait, what was it used for if they were,
Before it was an instrument, it was already used for something.
it was a box?
It was a box from churches. It was a collection
Yeah.
box. They used to collect money for either the poor or just to run the church. And they had this box there, and you almost might imagine that when it's time to collect the money, maybe they were banging on the box to get everybody's attention. It's possible. I don't know that for sure, but it's possible. And it ended up turning into an instrument. Do you have something to say, Adam?
Yeah, when that guy was playing it, not the second guy, but the first guy, is like holding it in the air.
He probably had a strap.
Yep, I think there's a strap around his neck here. Just because one hand is on the lid, and there's nothing holding the bottom except for that strap.
Yeah.
Well, unless you were sitting.
Yes, that's right. Good. Let's write some stuff about the cajita here. All right. So, like we said, it came from a collection box from a church.
But church box.
You can say church box as well. How about how it's played? There are a couple things that are going on while it's played. Yes, Adele?
The stick on the top, well, the stick to head and on the top.
Yeah, to open and close the lid.
Well, it was kind of like the beat.
And I think that he was using that to keep the beat, just like what Adam was saying. But I think that can change as the music requires. All right, what else did he use to beat out rhythms? A stick. And where did that hit?
It hit the side.
Hit the side
And tops.
and also the lid. Yeah, so it hit a bunch of different places on the cajita to make different sounds. It's funny, no matter where you go in the world, almost every single culture has music. And even when people try to take it away, they still try to make something into music.